Okay, and looks like we're live. Just gonna wait for a couple of seconds just to check if everything is clear, and then we can start. If anybody is watching, I hope you've tuned in because this is going to be a very interesting conversation with Srimati. We're going to talk about PCOS. We're going to talk about her experience of dealing with PCOS. And I get a lot of comments on my YouTube channel about people who are suffering from it. A lot of women wanting specific yoga asanas that will help. A lot of people wanting dietary recommendations. So I just thought that something like this will be helpful since Srimati has been there and done that. Um, Let me just give this 2 more seconds and then I will go ahead and introduce Srimati to everybody and then we can start our Q&A. Um, Once we are done talking to her, I'm going to open the floor for anybody who has any questions, anything that you want to ask if you have been dealing with PCOS. And yeah, I think we're good to go. So, welcome everybody to today's Stories That Inspire. I have with me Srimati. Srimati is, I met her just before or during lockdown, and she wanted me to conduct a session, a yoga session for people who were dealing with PCOS. That's how I happened to meet her. And we exchanged few stories about her having to deal with PCOS and me having to deal with thyroid. But she lives in Chennai. She got married about a year ago. She told me she's in her 20s, I think 27, 29. I forgot how old she is. But Srimati has dealt with PCOS. Her story is pretty inspiring because I know that she had it, and I've seen pictures of her when she got detected with PCOS, and then how she's changed her lifestyle after she understood what she needed to do. So yeah, and Srimati is actually a multilingual person. She speaks Tamil and Kannada and Marathi and Hindi and Sanskrit. So yeah, and she's also a finance professional. So she's somebody who has a full-time job and is also doing a lot of things. So just like you and me, so it's important for us to know how she is managing everything and still managing PCOS. So Srimati, if we can have you, um, there she is.
Hello, yes.
Hey. Okay, so why don't you first tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Yes. Thank you so much for that introduction. I mean, it was overwhelming to, listen about myself from you. But yeah, so like you told, I am 27 years old and I am from Chennai. I was born in Chennai, but I am a Kannadiga, so I speak Kannada at home. Now I'm married. It's almost a year since I've been married. I have a full time job. I am a financial planner by profession. I've done my MBA, and post that, it's been like 6 years, and I've been working with different MNCs. Uh, so, yeah, I have also been trained in Carnatic music, which is a typical Chennai thing. I think you should either be a trained Carnatic singer or a dancer if you're from Chennai. So, I sing, I am either listening to music or singing, or I'm just always, in the music zone. That's about me.
So now at the end of this, you're also going to give us a performance, right?
Let's see. Only if the audience asks for it.
Okay, everybody who's watching, please ask her to perform. Okay, she clearly is going to sing for us, and she'll sing really well. Okay, so let's quickly get into why we are here.
Yeah.
I first want to know about what your life was like before you got detected with PCOS, and what was it like before you started to take your health seriously.
Right. So let me give a little bit of background about how I was diagnosed with PCOS and what went into my life, right? So for me, it was genetic. It came from my mom or grandmom. They all had like regular issues with their periods or weight gain and all of those, but they were never diagnosed with PCOS as such. For me, ever since I got my first period, I think it was way back in 2008 2009. From then on, I've never had regular periods, I think, until 2018. It has always been irregular. But my mom, being herself, she used to take me to gynec from my very small age, when I didn't even know what was happening with my body. I just used to like ask questions to her. Everyone is getting their periods. Why am I not getting it? I was not even a fat kid. I used to be a very, very lean kid when I was in my eighth, ninth grade. So that's how it started. I didn't even know that I had PCOS. And whenever we did the hospital visits, it used to be like, nothing, you'll get better. This is just a teenage thing, adolescent thing. To just eat well, sleep well, everything will get better. But things never got better. I mean, the board exams, college entrance, and everything. I used to be a topper, by the way. Like, I used to be the kid people used to hate, first bencher, topper, that kind of a kid. So I used to study a lot, and I used to wake up early in the morning, have my cup of chais, and keep studying. And without me realizing, I kind of became a fat kid from a lean kid, because of this issue, right? The hormonal issue that I had, which actually my mom tried to address, but we couldn't find the right doctor or the diagnosis. We just knew that I had like irregular periods, and I even consulted ayurveda, homeopathy, siddha, whatnot. And it used to get better for a few months, and then the cycle would be back being irregular. And I continued with it during my BCom days, and even during my MBA days. I actually didn't care about it. I just thought it would get better, but it never got better. And there was a phase during my MBA where I actually touched like almost 70 kgs. I'm a very short person, so my ideal weight is like 48, 50. For me, reaching 70 was, I think, the moment when I thought, okay, something is really wrong. Because I never used to eat out. I don't eat junk. I always eat healthy meals at home, lot of veggies. So something was really wrong, and that's when my search towards curing my own body started. And my life was pretty much like every other teenager or early 20s person. Just used to study, hang out. And I was at hostel for 2 years for my MBA, and late night walks, having Maggie, chai, all of those. I'm just a normal person. Yeah, that was my life before I took PCOS very seriously.
Okay, before we move on to what you did, just for general knowledge for everyone, what is PCOS, based on all the research that you have done? What exactly is PCOS and what are the symptoms that people face usually?
Yeah. So PCOS term as a term is very heavy. I wouldn't generalize PCOS, because there are various degrees or various alternatives of hormonal imbalance which happens in every woman's body, right? These days, because of stress, people get diagnosed with PCOD or PCOS. It's nothing but your hormonal imbalance, due to which the ovulation actually gets misplaced, or the ovulation which needs to happen at the right time for a woman doesn't happen, or it gets delayed. Or there could be phases of anovulation also, and you might get an ovulatory bleed as your period without even ovulating. So it's essentially imbalance of your hormones, because of which there are a lot of symptoms which occur in your body. For me, the most prominent symptoms were irregular periods, of course, and weight gain, which eventually happened. But a lot of people face hair thinning, facial hair growth. There could be skin issues, or there could be even weight loss issues. There's something called lean PCOS, which many people experience, which could be because of stress, and they don't gain weight, but they're very lean and they tend to lose their weight as well. So for every woman with PCOS, symptoms are different. You cannot compare women. So
Okay, so tell us what you did. Did you have this light bulb moment to say, okay, now I need to take charge of this. I have touched 70 kilos. I better do something. So, what was that light bulb moment and what did you start out doing? What
yeah,
were the changes?
right. So for me, right, I basically didn't know the basic biology of, how we get our periods, what is happening inside our body. So what I did was to first understand what is happening with my body and why is this happening. So I started reading a lot of books, and this one book I wanted to mention is called The Period Repair Manual by Dr. Lara Bridden. I think I would say that book changed my life, because when I read that book, the kind of knowledge I gathered around our hormones, around ovulation, and around not only PCOS, thyroid, endometrium, and all other issues that women have, it really opened my eyes, and I started reading more and more about it. After I read that book, I started following her. I watched her YouTube videos. You can call me like I was obsessed. Whoever I meet, I used to be like, hey, you look like you have these symptoms. Are you experiencing this kind of problem? See, what happens with PCOS is people don't talk about it openly. They kind of hide it. And most people do not know why this is happening. So I would say second year of my MBA days was the time when I was like, no, I am doing something about this. I don't know how, but I started reading, and I figured out that if I correct my ovulation, if I correct my hormonal imbalance, everything will fall in place by itself. So I started analyzing, how do I do that? How do I do that? Right. So then the most common method, or the easiest way, as they may call, was to exercise. So I was a kid who never used to indulge in any sports, or I told you, right, I was a topper. The maximum that I went for PT class was to play chess. I never used to play like football, volleyball, nothing, not even running race. So for me, going out there and getting a physical activity was like biggest challenge. I wasn't a couch potato, but I never used to like exercise, or I never used to play anything. So the first thing I started with was badminton, because my college had like a really good badminton court, and there were like hot guys who used to come to play there. So I just thought, okay, this is a good thing to do, and I started playing. So I lost a couple of kgs, but my periods didn't come back. It was kind of irregular only, but I felt good. Like I started feeling nice. Because I was starting to notice changes in my body. My skin was getting clearer, and I was not as lethargic as I used to be earlier. I started with it, and my college got over, and I got placed, and I moved to Pune. And over there, the corporate that I used to work for had crazy work schedules. Like we used to go to office at like 12 p.m., 1 p.m., and we used to stay until like midnight. So again, my sleep cycles were like lost, and I didn't get any physical activity, and my weight like increased even more. Like it became 71, 72 kind of thing. So then what I did, actually I did a very drastic step. I was like, this is it. I don't need a job. I am moving back to Chennai, and I'm gonna like dedicate a few months and see what it's gonna do to my health, because it's high time. Like I need to do something about it. So I actually quit my job, but they were kind enough to kind of give me a transfer to Chennai. So I moved back to Chennai, and I took a less stressful role. And I did try a lot of things. Okay, like I did Zumba, I did aerobics, I went for walks. It seemed to like work on and off, but I was never consistent. I used to like go Zumba for 2 months, and I'll be like, oh, I think the aerobics is better. Let me go and try aerobics. And then I, signed up for a gym membership, and I was like, oh, what is this? I can't do all this. And I used to come back home. So all this happened, and meanwhile, what I tried to do was address my diet. Though I wasn't in a very bad diet as such, my mom used to just cook the food. What I did was to notice my portions. Right, we used to eat like 3 course meal, like sambar rice, rasam rice, curd rice with tappalam and all. What I did was to reduce the rice portion and take like more of sambar and more of poriyal, or the vegetables as you call it, right? So I started doing those things, and I cut sugar altogether. I know that might not be the right thing to do, but I did it out of curiosity to see whether it's going to help me. I cut sugar, I cut fried foods. I legit never used to eat out for like good 1 year. Not even once I ate out in the search of, will this cure me, kind of a thing. And then this was in 2017. I'm talking about 2017. And in 2018, actually randomly I joined like a hatha yoga class. And I still remember I went to the teacher and I told her, see, I had so much attitude at that point. I didn't know how yoga was, how yoga teachers would be. I said I have PCOS, and you should teach me asanas only to cure PCOS. And she was like, okay, no problem. No, you come to class tomorrow morning 5:30 a.m. I was like, what, 5:30? I have never woken up at 5:30. But then I was like, okay, I'll go and see what it is. And I went and I attended 2 classes. And that again, like Lara Briden's book, this I would say changed my life, because I've been like stuck to yoga ever since. I practice yoga every day even now. I don't know whether it was the teacher or the yoga practice itself, or the surrounding where I was practicing it. I felt really good. I felt like it was kind of working for me, and it kind of healed my body. So I started becoming very regular, and I in turn became a morning person. I used to like be so motivated and do yoga. I used to wake up at like 5 a.m., take a bath, bride, and go to my yoga class. And after I think 4 to 5 months of very regular yoga practice, without doing anything else, actually, my period started becoming regular. My mom even remembers this day, that I got my periods on my 28th day in, I think, August of 2018. And it was like, oh my god, such a big thing for me. I couldn't believe my eyes that I was getting it like on time. It might sound silly, but it was like a huge thing for me to get my periods without any medicines, without doing anything, with just this. So then I was like, this is it. I have found what it is, and I am not looking back, and I'm going to do this. But with this, my intention was to lose weight and not to like regulate and all that. But I noticed that after like 1 year of my very regular exercise, which is the yoga asana, and very conscious eating, I told you I didn't like eat out at all, and I was very, very conscious. I used to eat vegetables every day, fruits every day, fruits and nuts, and waking up at like 5 a.m. And going to bed at like 9 p.m. That was my routine. With all this, I was like consistent with my periods, and I used to get regular periods for like good 6-7 months. And that's when I figured, okay, a lot of things that I did worked, and a lot of things that I did maybe was not required. So that's when I started reading even more about what people actually do, and what is okay, what is not okay, should we take these extreme measures. And now after all these years, I have found out my balance. uh, I eat out, I eat junk, I do all of those things, but what I stick to is very regular exercising, and being conscious about what I eat, and also with my sleep cycles. Even if I get late at work, sometimes it's like 11 p.m., 12 a.m. When I finish work, but I make sure I get in, the 7-8 hours of sleep, and I don't go without it, because I understand now that sleep is very important. Undisturbed sleep is very important. So, yeah. Sorry if it was like a really long
That
story.
was a nice long story about your life with PCOS. So I just wanted to ask, you said that you started yoga and then you did it religiously for how long till your period started getting regular?
6 months. Six
6 months.
months. Yeah.
Okay. Because I have seen a lot of people commenting. I have a video on yoga for PCOS. People just say, I did this for 3 days and then I started getting my periods. I find it quite unbelievable because, first of all, I don't understand these comments. how you can just do it for 3 days and sometimes it just comes. But I think your body also takes some time, right? Everything doesn't happen. Otherwise, people would just be like, "Oh, PCOS hai, yoga karo, chal, 3 दिन में आ जाएगा." It will just be like that. So there is no shortcut, is what I wanted to tell everybody. Okay, so I'll move on to the next question. So you spoke about what your life was like. You already told us what your like every day you practice yoga now. Um, so apart from having vegetables, cutting down a little bit of your rice, practicing yoga every day, is there something else that you included in your meals that you were not consuming earlier?
Yes, yes. So I have started including a lot of seeds and nuts, which I never used to do earlier. So there is this concept called seed cycling. It may work for a few and it may not for a few. So you consume like pumpkin seeds and flax seeds for the first 14 days of your cycle, and you take sunflower seeds and sesame seeds for the next 14 days. So what I do is I just like make energy balls out of the seeds with some honey or jaggery or whatever, and I just take it as a snack to my workplace. So this is a very good source for your vitamins, for good for your skin, good for your hair, and it's believed that it also helps with your period cycle, but this alone will not definitely help.
Yeah, actually, there are a lot of people, they say, can, I have PCOS, can you tell me some asanas that can help? So I think there is this misconception that ये asana करोगे तो चला जाएगा PCOS, or like people who have diabetes, for example, people who have high blood pressure. Recently, somebody asked me, so what asanas would you recommend? I was just like, it's a lifestyle related disorder. You need to look at it holistically and not just if I do keep doing this whatever asana. Suppose I just keep doing shavasana, that doesn't mean my high blood pressure whatever is going to go away, right? So that's what looking at it from a holistic view of, okay, I need to regulate my sleep, I need to ensure that I'm eating right, I need to ensure that I'm also practicing yoga. For you, yoga seemed to work. For a
Yeah,
lot of people, it's just some activity because maybe they're not being active at all. But I feel like yoga does have, it gives that sense of balance internally and externally that other forms of exercise, I wouldn't even classify yoga as exercise, but it doesn't give you that internal and external peace. So yeah, okay, moving on to my next question. I've asked you about your diet, I've asked you about, you've told us so much about your experience. How do you manage a fitness regimen with a full-time job? And now that you're married, I'm sure you have more responsibilities at home as well. So how do you manage that? Because I think that is the number one thing that at least women, I think, knowingly or unknowingly, I feel like a lot of household responsibilities come onto the women in the house. And apart from doing stuff in the house, if you also have a job, you have to go out and do like work and then come back. And then also making time for that exercise or yoga or whatever. How do you manage it and what do you do?
right. It is true. Okay, so at least in the 1 year that I've experienced the married life, it does get difficult, especially if you're doing all the chores at home and if you're like a working woman going out there. For me, what I do is I just take my exercise like I brush my teeth every day. I have I I made this vocal that what, I do my exercise every day morning. Whatever it is comes later. I just made it vocal. I just spoke up, I would say that. So if I'm waking up at like 5:30, that's my regular routine, weekday routine for me. I wake up, I brush, I do my yoga, and then I go to the kitchen or do whatever. So what I've noticed is we tend to postpone this. For me, this works. Like for me, the morning hours works because of the practice or the kind of habit that I've developed. Not necessarily that that should work for the other person, but if you dedicate a time specifically for your exercise, it necessarily not be yoga, right? It can be strength training or swimming or whatever it is. If you dedicate a time and you just tell yourself, and you need to be self motivated, I think that's point number one that I would want to highlight. Because if you're depending on someone else to motivate you to do exercise, it's gonna like go away after a few months unless you are self motivated, and there should be a reason for you to be motivated. For me, PCOS is a reason, or healthy lifestyle is a reason. For you, it might be something else, right? uh, you need self motivation, you need a reason, and you need a particular time frame that you set, through which you can be regular. I would say it should come more as a habit or a consistent thing that you do, and you should enjoy doing it. There is no point like harming yourself or hurting yourself, or oh, I have to do this. It will not work. You should enjoy the kind of exercise that you're doing, and it should kind of make you feel happy that you have taken that time out for yourself amidst all the work and responsibilities that you have. And definitely, if you're married, I think your partner's role also is important, right? He or she should be like welcoming, and they should support you, or they should give you that 1 hour or 30 minutes or whatever that is. And whatever happens at the house, they should be able to take care of it. uh, Even if that is not happening, I feel as women we should be vocal, and we should tell it to whoever it is at the house that this is important for me and I need to take my time out. And yeah, that's how I do it.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Okay, last question. And then if there is anybody who wants to ask any questions, we can open it. I don't know. There are no questions so far. So, what is the three top tips that you would give anyone who wants to start their fitness journey? So, say, suppose there are people, I mean, like you said, you are not conscious about your health and fitness, you hardly ever exercise. But now look at you waking up at 5:30 in the morning, taking some time out. So, what are the three top tips that you would give someone who's going to start their journey?
So firstly, I think find something that you like, or you think you might like if you've not started anything. Maybe some sport like badminton, or something like swimming. Now with summers, maybe you'll enjoy swimming. Something that you like or you think you might like, pick that sport or that activity and give it a shot. If you start liking it, then be consistent with it and give it some time. That would be my first advice, because me myself, like I told you, when I went to the yoga teacher, I didn't know what it is, and I was very specific to her, saying, tell me asanas just for PCOS. I feel it doesn't work that way. Whatever activity you're going to do, it will work only when you're consistent and when you give a few months at least for it to show results. So firstly, find something out and be consistent with it. And the second thing would be to actually like figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, right? So like whatever works for me, whatever works for Rashmi might not work for the other person. So once you've picked what you like and all that, maybe you explore a lot of activities. Pick something that works for you and try to stick with it for long term. And exercising, I think, should be a part of your lifestyle and not just for few months or for few years. Okay, you lose weight and then you stop exercising and you go back to like whatever you did earlier. I feel exercise should be like how you brush your teeth, how you eat your food. It should be a part of your lifestyle, and it's very very important, not only for people with PCOS, it's for everyone out there, given that we have like sedentary lifestyle, uh, lot of adulterated chemicals and all those things, right? We can go on and on. It's very important to make it a part of your lifestyle. That would be my tip number 2. And tip number 3 would be to maybe join a community or a group of people who work towards the same issue or the problem. Not necessarily the same disease or lifestyle disorder, whatever. Maybe something that motivates everyone in the community to come and take up that activity. For me, what happened was when I joined my class, I found a really good gang, really good group who used to like work out even on Sundays. So that kind of motivated me to go back and do it, because I used to love meeting those people. So maybe finding a community, finding a peer group uh, with whom you can, spend time will definitely help in the long term.
Okay. Looks like the what do you say? You were the front bencher, and I feel like you're so prepared for your responses. You didn't even take time to think. It's like I know what my three tips are going to be.
No, yeah, the 3 things that I wrote, I think, are different.
Okay. So, I lost my live stream. Thank God. Ah, there it is. Okay, so there are a few questions. Namrata is asking, hi, any specific breathing exercise or kriya that you practiced religiously and did wonders to cure PCOS?
Uh-huh. I would say no, because breathing exercise alone won't cure PCOS. But I did learn a lot of pranayama techniques, be it the alternate nostril breathing, Brahmari and Ujjayi, uh, and also a lot of abdominal breathing where you're lying on the floor and you do abdominal breathing. And we also used to do, I still do Shitakari and Shitali. So these are normal techniques, breathing exercises or pranayama, but definitely not specific to PCOS. It comes with your yogasana or pranayama practice.
Yeah, that's true. I think I think food is the number one factor, and yoga does make a big difference. But I feel like the minute you start eating on time, eating the right food, sleeping
Correct.
well, you start immediately seeing some results. And yoga, of
I
course, makes a difference. Any asanas? Tashi is asking any asanas for CKD patients. I don't think we'll discuss that. CKD is chronic kidney disease. My father had chronic kidney disease, and again, I don't think there are very specific set of asanas that I would recommend to anyone who's looking for any cure for any disorder. Because
yes.
if you say I have high blood pressure, what would you recommend? I'd say just change your lifestyle. Look at it from a holistic perspective. Same for CKD, same for PCOS, same for diabetes. It's similar for all diseases because it starts with first understanding what is wrong. Okay, am
Mm.
I sitting for too long? Am I not exercising at all? Am I sleeping on time? Am I eating the right food? Am I eating on time? All of this matters. So any specific asana is not really going to help. Cool. I don't think somebody's asking, are you all sisters? No, actually, Srimati and I are not sisters. I have a sister. I have an older sister who when I think she we did a live actually. We had done. Been my
Yeah,
inspiration to turn vegan, and we also she and I look very
vegan.
similar.
Yeah.
I don't know if Srimati and I look similar, but maybe if we do, but no, we are not sisters.
Maybe because we have curly hair, people think we are sisters.
Maybe. Cool. If there are any more questions specifically for PCOS, since Srimati is here, there are people asking for scoliosis and cervical spondylitis. Scoliosis and cervical spondylitis, I think, is very important to get somebody to come and assess how this person is who's suffering from it, and then can recommend asanas. It's very hard to comment and give something on a live or even on the comment section. Is Surya
Yeah,
Namaskar recommended?
my
Go
mom
for it.
has cervical spondylitis, so I don't think we should get oral recommendations like this. It's very
Yeah,
important to
yeah,
check with a doctor and a proper yoga practitioner if
yeah.
at all we are looking to do asanas. Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I think it's very easy for people to just type and say, give me something, let me try it out and see." But I think you need to take that effort to go to a doctor and check. If the thumb rule that I follow is if something hurts, you stop because you don't want to further enjoy yourself if there is
Correct.
something wrong. Sometimes people they push themselves too much, so it's best to first get somebody to physically be able to see you, be able to watch, and then recommend something. Anyway, I think that's about it. I don't see any more questions, but Srimati, thank you so much for sharing everything that you had to share. I think I mean, now at least I hope that things are a little bit more, people are a little bit more open about discussing the topic of periods. You were very open about discussing when you like when you were a child, and then when your period cycle became regular. And I feel like it takes a lot. You may not feel it right now, but a lot of women don't talk about it, right? And it takes a lot of courage, I feel, to first talk about you yourself personally and to talk about your period cycle, which is something that is so private to somebody. So thank you for sharing it with everybody, and I hope that everybody who's watching this is inspired by your story, because we are all like regular people who have had to deal with things like this, and that's the reason that I started something like Stories That Inspire, because it's not like somebody who has this kind of lifestyle where they can have multiple cooks at home, they have a driver, they have everyone to like take care of them. Because sometimes even I feel like I wish there was just somebody who would just make fresh vegetable juices for me every day. Just somebody come and just do that and just that for me. So I mean, managing a job, managing a family, managing everything along with healing yourself, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of commitment and dedication. So thank you for sharing your story. um Nidhi is saying thank you so much, this is so relatable. So yeah, and I feel like stories like yours will is what will inspire everybody to say that okay, if Srimati could do this, I can do this too. And it just makes I feel like listening to you, I just feel like getting up and doing some like just putting my mat on the floor and let's do some nice like yoga practice after this, just to like calm down and de-stress. So thank you for sharing your story. And everybody else who's watching this, if you have any questions, you can type in the comment section and I can talk to Srimati later or get her to respond to your questions later in case you couldn't join for the live. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Srimati. It was great talking
Thank
to you.
you. Thank you so much. It's so nice speaking to you. And one thing that I wanted to share, like at the end of the session, is that let's say you are a woman who are getting diagnosed with PCOS. Please take action and please start doing something about it. Do not sit silent, and please talk openly about it with your doctor, if not everyone else, or your mom or sister. And do not depend on pills. It is a disorder which can be sort of cured with your lifestyle changes itself. You don't need pills unless it's like very severe, right? So please go out there, start exercising, start thinking about it, even if you have it in a very minor stage, because that's something that I learned. I left it for too long, so it took me like really long time to get back. So if you have irregular periods today, and if you have like hair fall or facial hair, please consider it seriously and start working towards it, and talk about it to people. You will be surprised to know that 1 out of 3 people you speak will have PCOS, and they will be like, oh, mujhe bhi nahi aaya periods. Oh, mujhe bhi nahi aaya periods. So you will all gang up together and you can work towards it. So yeah.
There are a couple more questions that have come. Can you tell me the difference? Nidhi's asking, can you tell me the difference between PCOD and PCOS?
Yeah, so there's really not much difference. PCOD is much more lighter version. PCOS affects multiple parts of your body. It gives you multiple symptoms like your hair loss, facial hair, irregular periods. PCOD is much lighter. Maybe you have just irregular periods, you have just weight gain. So there's not really much difference except for the severeness.
Okay. Tashi is asking, how do I prevent fibroids? And she's also thanking you for the session. She said she really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know much about fibroids. I'm sorry. It's not
Okay.
related to PCOS.
Yeah, I think it's better to check with your doctor. Sometimes you might have a genetic predisposition to it also.
Yes.
Tanushree is asking, I'm suffering from irregular periods since I was 17. If I do exercise, it's regular. Otherwise, it's irregular and weight gain. So what can I do? Simple answer,
Start
exercise.
exercising. That's what I told you. Make exercise a part of your lifestyle. I cannot emphasize more on it. If you stop exercising, so think like exercise is your okay, it's good for your heart, it's good for your health, it's good for your bones. So it kind of addresses both your health and your PCOS specific issue as well. So just exercise.
Actually, when you were saying make exercise a part of your daily, your internet also started like slowing down. So it was like make exercise a part. So it was like slow mo, you telling everybody make exercise a part of your daily routine. So yeah, I mean, if you know the answer, it's regular when you exercise, so it's
Uh,
important to exercise. Like Srimati said, like you brush your teeth every day, you have to make exercise exactly that. It's something that you can't do without, right? So, yeah, if you just make it a regular part of your day, take time out of your busy schedule, because I guess your health is not more important than anything else in life. So yeah, okay. Usually, when we do these live streams, I'll be like, okay, no more questions. Okay, thank you so much for me. And then suddenly, there'll be like five, six questions popping up last minute. So yeah, I think now there are no more questions. So
Okay.
thank you, Srimati, and thank you everybody for logging in. I hope you learned a lot from Srimati, and yeah, I hope you can find your way back to health. Tanushri is again asking, like any specific exercise, because there are so many, like running and yoga and Pilates and cardio, it's confusing. So, like Srimati said, and like I also say, just do what you like doing and what you can find motivation with. Because if you don't like yoga, you're not going to be able to sustain with it. If you don't like going to the gym, you're not going to be able to sustain. So you do what you like doing, as long as you feel like you will have this feel good factor after every time you exercise or every time you do a yoga session. Everyone who does it every day has that, first they have that glow on their face, and then they also have this amazing, like, you feel good for the entire day. So yeah, find what you like and just be regular, be consistent, stay consistent, and stay on the path. Cool. Okay, now Srimati, finally, I think we're going to stop this now. Otherwise, this will go on. Thank you so much for spending some time with me and talking to all of us. And hopefully, we'll meet soon.
Of course. Thank you. My pleasure.
Bye. Thank
Bye
you.
bye.